girls, grab your beers.
Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so one Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio.
Fasten your seatbelts.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle. And a real quick housekeeping note, if you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble, BitChute, or Odyssey, please hit that follow and subscribe button. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever podcast platform you utilize, please hit that follow and subscribe button so we can continue to bring you conversations like the one I'm bringing you today. I am talking with Army veteran John Wilson. What's going on, John?
Hey, how are you, sir?
Good. Getting together on a Saturday morning, fueling up with some caffeine, and looking to have a good conversation. Usually when I have people on for the first time, I like to get a quick background, though. So do you remember originally what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Army, since I was about 10 years old.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is it family or something, or just
Uncle was a Marine, but when I started getting closer to enlistment, he talked me out of it just because of the whole open contract thing. You can sign up for one thing and do something completely different if they want you to. I'm like, no. If I pick something, that's what I want to do.
Gotcha. What was it at 10 years old, though, that kind of attracted you to the Army?
Oh, watching all those movies that were inappropriate for my age group, Platoon, watching Tour of Duty back in the early 90s. And it's just, I don't know, it just stuck.
Gotcha.
That's what I wanted to do.
And then as you got older from a childhood, looking at the joining the Army, what was it like, when it was time to put pen to paper and stuff? What else was it that attracted you to wanting to serve your country?
Honestly, I figured, I looked at some colleges, and the atmosphere wasn't just vibing with me. But when I would hang out with recruiters, everything just seemed like this is where I'm supposed to be. So it was almost a no-brainer. It's what I wanted to do. That's what I played sports, so I was always in shape. So I wanted to continue doing that. And it felt so good to actually leave and, start my own life somewhere else. And it worked out great.
And where did you grow up at? What area are you from?
Chardon. In Chardon. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so, involved with sports and stuff growing up, but what was like the culture change for you going into the Army, and what was like some of the oddest things you experienced? Oh, man. We had a pretty tough football coach, so it was kind of like the drills, but I had a very unique basic training that was kind of a culture shock because all 13 of our drill sergeants got suspended for unethical and aggressive things they were doing. So I had a very unique basic training that I'd say 90% of people don't have anymore. Yeah. And then as you started getting through basic training, what would you say, what was next for you? What, because you said that you wanted to have, with the Marines, it was an open contract. What did you specifically go in for that, you got to stick with the Army?
19 Delta Cavalry Scout, forward reconnaissance. And that's, I just love the idea of going up, setting up a hide, sitting there for days, just watching movements and reporting it back. So everyone behind us could, know what they're walking into or driving into, and being able to work with, we had Navy guys with us so they could call for fire. And we also, every once in a while, had some Air Force guys that call in the Warthogs or, whatever they had at their disposal as well. So it was cool being able to mix and sit up OPs and.
Nice. As a kid, did you do any hunting?
No, my mom wouldn't allow it. My mom was an animal lover through and through. My stepdad used to hunt until they got together, but I always loved shooting and I always loved being in the woods. I actually failed 6th grade because I missed 72 days of school because my mom thought I'd be going out to go to the bus, and I would literally spend all day in the woods with my lunchbox, and then she wouldn't even know I wasn't even at school. So I kept my grades up, but if you miss 72 days of school, they don't care.
Yeah. They well, I mean, because what you were saying with what you did on active duty kind of reminded me of just, when you go out on hunts and you just sit there for hours and you're comfortable just sitting, in the woods and stuff. It sounded like you were born for that particular job, And then without breaking OPSEC, what would you say is one of the worst places that you ever served at?
We did most of our time in the Sunni Triangle of Iraq, so I would say probably Samarra.
Samarra?
Yeah, it was just nasty people that hated us there.
Gotcha. And then what would you say was one of the best places you got to serve at during your time in?
Stateside was Fort Carson. It was just a great younger town, like the whole part of Colorado Springs was like a younger per capita city. You got the Air Force Academy just down the street. So you had all the young female Air Force cadets and stuff around. So that was a really good time down there.
Nice. Yeah, those Air Force girls are a good time. Sure. And then what would you say, since transitioning out of the military, what would you say is one of your biggest pet peeves with civilians?
All of it. I don't know where to begin. The lack of discipline, the complaining about things that in our mind, I would say that's the dumbest thing to complain about. That's all you have to complain about, and you're that upset over, I don't know, the wrong makeup, and my life is ruined. And like, I hear these people talk at work, and it's like needles just being pushed into your skin. It's like, that's nothing to complain about.
Yeah, the first world problems, man. Just
I told them no croutons. I'm gonna call them and take them off. Like, there's simple solutions. Just why do you get so upset?
Damn croutons out. But yeah, I can relate, man. It's just like I was just at a brother that I served with's 50th birthday party, and it was just like, he's my brother, man. We served him many years together, and just because we got the different skin color, it doesn't matter. It's just like we all wore the same uniform, but it was like but the stuff we'd say to each other, if civilians, are you kidding me?
They don't understand.
They don't get the camaraderie. They don't get the fellowship, and it's just like, you guys, man, I don't know. It's like every time I try not to watch the news, man, because it's just what the hell happened, man? It's like I just had a veteran on the other day. We were talking how, like, after 9/11, we were all united and everybody was like, go time. We're all Americans. But the real patriots, like, Pat Tillman left his NFL contract to go serve. The real people that loved our country went to go. And while we were gone, it's like we got infiltrated by like the school system or whatever. There's been like an indoctrination here that's like,
Oh yeah,
it's been sickening, you know?
I've been blessed that my boys don't buy into that.
Yeah. I mean, I try and have the real talks with my kids as well, you know, but, you know, it's crazy, man. You know, when you look at how far away we've gone from where we were, you know, everybody's waving it. We are all waving the red, white, and blue flag, you know, after 9/11, and now it's like everybody doesn't know what flag to put up, you know.
No, all of them.
Yeah. And then, what is something that you feel you will always carry with you from your time of service?
Well, I would say a good work ethic, leadership skills, and my determination not to fail. I hate to fail. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, gotcha. And then, what is one of the funniest stories that you feel you could share from your time of service?
Well, I waited 20 years to tell my lieutenant colonel this at a reunion a few months ago. When we got to Tikrit, we were out looking for weapon caches in this big field. We found a bunch of all these hidden bunkers. Like, you look at this field, you couldn't tell there's anything there. But we found like 40 some bunkers with weapons and 120 millimeter mortars, loads of RPGs, all sorts of stuff. But you look at this field, you couldn't see it. Our engineers were blowing up ordnances at the top and bottom of the hour, so everyone knew they were blowing it up. So as scouts, we were kind of bored. We marked all these spots. We took 44 RPGs, 220 millimeter mortars, and we linked them all together with a satchel charge, which is 13.5 pounds of C4. And we waited to the bottom of the hour and blew it up. But we didn't know that the engineers had taken a break. So the comms went nuts. Oh my God. We were just like, shit. They took a break. No one told us. They're trying to figure out if someone's under attack, if we're taking fire from somewhere. And we're just like, time to go. We just drove off and went back to the Saddam's birthday palace and restocked our stuff.
And just let them figure it out, and then you got to share the story 20 years later or whatever.
Yeah, he's like, he just looks at me with this disappointment but smile. He's like, "You're gonna sleep better tonight." Getting that off your chest.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
I was like, I slept good that night. What are you talking about? That was fun.
Yeah, it's Saddam's palace. And then what would you say is one of your greatest hopes, you know, for the country that you've been willing to give your life for?
Yeah, we find our way again. This is, I don't know. It's like what do they always say? It's hard times breed strong men, men bring good times, and easy times breeds weak men. And we're at the weak men stage, I believe. So we got to go through some hard times to come back through it, and so breed some strong men again. Yeah,
definitely. Because I feel it coming. I feel the pendulum swinging. You know, but I don't know how many people are going to make it through. But you know,
I don't see that the other side wants to continue pushing this envelope, because it's not going to go in their favor the way they think that it's going to.
No, I agree. And then I don't know, you know, it's just like I'm kind of to the point though. I think I mean, even with this big election coming up, there's so much damage that's been done that no matter who gets in, it's going to be, we're ahead for some rough times. You know?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And you know, it's gonna take quite a bit. to get through it. But like you said, you know, strong men will come out of it, hopefully, you know.
It's Darwinism at its finest.
Yeah. And then what do you feel, you know, we can do to break the stigma of PTSD and mental health?
Educate people. Tell them about programs that can help. Look out for our brothers and sisters that need help. Like Sheepdog is a great one. They have this thing called the PATH program, and it's not therapy. It's for first responders and military. So it's not. I had an EMS guy from New York, FDNY, and he's seen some shit. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. No, if I can say this on there.
This adult program, you're good.
Okay. So, and that
you waited this long.
Yeah. So that also opened my eyes, because we always think military have seen all the shit, and this guy has seen, you know, little kids mangled in car wrecks, and I was like, so that opened my eyes too, to understand that everybody's got some kind of nasty trauma that we just need to look out for each other, regardless. You don't know what their background is. You don't know what their story is. So you need to almost treat everyone with kid gloves until the boxing gloves are needed. But
yeah,
just to understand each other, to just bring back the humanity and all of it.
Yeah, I agree, man. And it's like that, you know, what you were saying too about, you know, comparing like what we experience in the military compared to what these everyday first responders see. I'm dating a firefighter EMT, and she works out there at Wyndham.
Okay.
Out there by Ravenna, by the Arsenal and stuff. And it's a small town, but the stuff that she's experienced, you know, with overdoses and, you know, like a lot of, you know, a lot of traumatic stuff, man. And that's part of the everyday punching the clock almost, you know? And, you know, it's definitely opened my eyes as well. And, I'll have to look into that program, you know, for her as well. I know for myself, some great ones that were like really therapeutic on my healing journey. There was this one called Higher Ground in Sun Valley, Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
And they flew us out there, and we went horseback riding up into the Sawtooth Mountains. We camped out up there for a week, and we're fly fishing. I mean, I was drinking water straight out of a spring, you know, and it was, man, it was so healing. You know, and it wasn't like sitting around, you know, popping pills and talk. It was a bunch of veterans busting each other's balls in like a positive, beautiful environment, man. And it was definitely the beginning of my my journey, you know. So it's like I like to get veterans on too and find out like what other options there are out there and give those places shout outs, because one of the main reasons why I started this too during my last deployment, you know, downtime is always the worst. You know, I'm sure you can relate, you know, when you're sitting in idle hands, you know, in your own head. You know, I mean, even back here, you know, I can get in trouble in my own head. But deployed, you know, this last deployment was my first one as a father, you know, and so I'm thinking about my kids at home and everything like that. So I would throw on some headphones and listen to some podcasts. And one of them was one that some of my friends back home did. So it took me back home. It helped me escape, you know, for a little bit. So that's kind of another reason why I started this, to provide, you know, some conversations and stuff for the guys that are deployed, guys and gals that are deployed, to have something to listen to, you know, hear some stories, and then hear what kind of options they don't know. A lot of us just know the VA, you know,
right.
VA, you know, it's come a long way, thankfully, but you know, it wasn't always, you know, the best option. I found the majority of my healing outside of it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sheepdog is amazing.
Now, I don't know what what your experience has been with the VA, but have you had like a positive one, or are you even involved with it, or?
Outside of answering the phones, all my services that I've had medically have been amazing. They've done surgeries on my knees. They've done my cancer surgery, and they've been great. The follow-ups, they're very, really good with the follow-ups and getting you in. So I've had no complaints out of the one in Cleveland is just probably one of the better ones in the U.S.
Yeah,
but it's
the getting through to somebody on the phone.
Yeah.
That's the key. Or I usually like to use the My Healthy Vet. And I'll just do a secure message and stuff. It usually works out better. But if
it weren't for my wife, I probably wouldn't even be here. I went through some hard times when I first came back for a few years. Like there's large chunks of my life when I got out of the military, I don't remember. Like I'm talking weeks at a time. I can't remember huge chunks of my life during that time. And she's the one that somehow got the ball rolling for the VA. And like I said, I don't remember how I got started with the VA, but somehow she found out. And if it weren't for her, I would not. I don't think I'd be here right now.
Yeah. Well, God bless her, man. It's I know, my dad was a World War II Marine, and he was in the invasion of Okinawa. And when they didn't have what we have today, So it's like I got to experience PTSD, firsthand growing up. But he did the best he could with what he had, and pretty, I can't complain. I had a good upbringing and stuff, but he would volunteer at the VA with my mom, but he never, got service connected. And it wasn't until after I came home and I got service connected and, decided to get some of my own PTSD along the way, and I could relate to him better. I finally got him, thankfully, connected with the VA, and it ended up helping him before he passed. And, he lived to be 92. And
oh, that's awesome.
It was rough on my mom too. And then once they had the VA helping out, she, it made things easier for his, transition to the final duty station, I guess, as they say,
And if there's one thing I can put out there to anybody that's looking to, when they get out and they're like, oh, I don't want to, there's people out there that need it more. It was explained to me that it's not about needing it more, because the allocation of funds don't take away from anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
They'll allocate for more. So it's not, that was my biggest thing. It was like, I was wounded, and I had every right to get some, but I was like, nope, someone out there probably needs it more.
Yeah.
So one of the VA people talked to me like, that's not how it works. So if you're ever thinking that somebody out there needs it more, they might, but you need it too.
Well, and the thing was that I had the exact same, my chief in my reserve unit was a veteran service officer for Cuyahoga County, and he would work down at Wade Park. And before I deployed, he even told me, he's just like, I don't care if you stub your toe over there or whatever, get it documented, and bring it home to me. It gave me a heads up on, what the process would be like coming back. And then he explained the same thing. I was like, dude, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I got some stuff, but there's some guys that got it worse than me. I don't want to take from them. And he's just like, every year Congress goes through the budget, and they allocate so much. And if they see that people aren't using it, then they're going to allocate less.
Exactly.
It's like it's not being used, so we could put more money over to here to defense or something like that. But when we use it and they need more, they give more, So we're actually helping our brothers and sisters out by going, by helping ourselves,
Yeah, that's how it was explained to me, and I'm like, I never knew it was like that. I don't want to, thought there was a set amount of funds, and once it's gone, people start going without. They're like, no.
Yeah. Now, we talked a little bit before we went on too, and you kind of mentioned about, some of the things that you've dealt with, but understand as well that you're a Purple Heart recipient. Do you mind sharing any of that story?
Sure. Yeah, we were traveling to go do some raids, and we had our talk was in Balad. We're traveling north on Route 1 in Iraq. We had a Bradley in the lead. We had a Scout Humvee in a second, and we had a soft canvas top Humvee third. My truck was fourth, which was a Scout Humvee. And then the lieutenant colonel was in a Bradley behind us, all running with our white lights on at 11:30 p.m. at night. So, you know how a Bradley sits up a little higher with their lights. I was on stage. We didn't have up armored Humvees. We didn't have doors on our Humvees. They were the hard shell Humvees, but we didn't have doors. They were basically the same ones we used for training. We're now using for war. But we'd see the MPs that wouldn't even leave the wire in up armored Humvees. But anyway, that's another story. So we were traveling on Route 1. The lead Bradley takes an RPG, stops the whole convoy, and we ended up getting hit with fire from the half left. Before I could even turn the turret, I got hit in the knee with an AK round. And telling my driver to move up. He slumped over the steering wheel. I can't get this turret to turn. And finally, I just said, screw it. I had my night vision goggles on, saw where the muzzle flashes are coming from, and I just walked the 50 cal back and forth and until the firing stopped. So, sorry, my son just walked in. So basically, we had to make sure that so after I got hit, I returned fire, and luckily there was a large Mark 19 ammo can on the 50, and it literally deflected like 42 rounds. They found dings in it. They told me when we got back that there was like 42 dings in that ammo can where they were shooting at me, at my muzzle flash, but luckily that turret was jammed to the half right and they attacked from the half left. So I just was able to extend my arms. So the bullets were literally going right in front of my face and hitting that ammo can. If it would have been in front of me, it would have just peppered my whole front of my body. Wow. So it was kind of like that blessing in disguise kind of thing that.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. And then so, after that, they bring you guys home, and that's what happened, right? Immediately after that, a lot of you guys,
Yeah, I went that night. It took about 20 minutes for the Blackhawks to get there. They tried putting me in the Blackhawk, smashed my knee that I got shot in up against the top of the Blackhawk like 3 times, wondering why I can't go. Won't fit, so they finally put me in a lower one. So after getting hit, they're slamming my knee up against a Blackhawk, or what's left of it.
Jeez.
End up going to 21st Cache, spending the night there, getting some emergency surgery, and then next day or the day after, I was on a lot of drugs. Went to Longstuhl, Germany for a few days where I had more surgeries and some blood transfusions and things like that. And then went to Walter Reed, where they released me to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where my family could come pick me up and I could recover at home for a while.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, so they brought you back home to Wright-Pat, and then
yeah.
Okay. And then what the heck was I going to ask you? There was a and then you were awarded your Purple Heart, and what was shit? I had a question and then I got just.
Welcome to veteranhood.
Yeah, exactly.
Why did I walk into this room?
Oh, I know. Because you had mentioned too, it took you a long time. It was your wife that actually pushed to get you into the VA and stuff. And I am, I'm in recovery. I'm 15 years sober now. I know for the longest time during my active service, I was somebody that, like to, escape and numb out and things.
Yeah.
So I was just curious if, what prevented you from going to the VA, originally?
Pride. This is how I was trained to be. This is how I'm supposed to be. Everyone else is weak. Everyone else should be more like me. When I was really the one that was kind of like, I was too far gone in my own head. So
yeah,
I had too much anger, too much resentment I didn't want to get out. So I felt like they forced me out. So I was very angry. And that was the biggest thing, was basically my anger.
Felt like your purpose was taken away from you, kind of, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's been one of my biggest things with, my journey since I've been out is like, because I'm one of the guys that's like, I'm proud of my service, as a lot of us should be, but I was letting that define who I was,
Yeah.
and it finally got through, with some of my recovery and some of the other therapies and stuff I've done. I just, this is this podcast is part of my healing, part of my journey now,
Right.
But it's not I'm not. It's also not defining who I am. There's a lot more than this, and it took a little while to get there because I was like the guy grunt style all from head to toe, and it's like, I still, I still wear stuff and represent and whatever, but it's just like, I'm not the first in line at Golden Corral on Veterans Day anymore.
No, yeah.
I might go get the free haircut or something, but it's
Right.
like I'm throwing on the excess calories because it's like, hey, look at me.
I'm a big fan of the free bloomin' onion at Outback, though.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah. So since you've been out, what is what's John doing today?
Today I'm a service manager at Rotor Rooter, so I manage all the service technicians.
So you're still dealing with some shit, huh?
Yeah, I am. I'm still in the shit. Just a little bit different consistency. No, when I first got out, I was at Brinks for a while, armored cars, and then I transitioned to working as a corrections officer. So I worked at 2 different correctional facilities for over 15 and a half years. I was a corrections officer. I really found my niche when I went to Cuyahoga County Jail, and I ended up being on the special response team because it was basically they based everything that their tactics off of paramilitary uniforms, BDU, black BDUs, PT caps. That's what I wanted to get in my life, was that something at least paramilitary, but I knew I wasn't. I still, at the time, even as a corrections officer, I still knew myself that I could not be. I wanted to be a police officer, but I knew I wasn't ready. Like I didn't quite have the temperament as a police officer. I was still too hair triggered. So that's where I found my niche as a special response team at the jail. We just dealt with all the emergencies and everything in there. So everyone up there was either former military or basically acts like they should have been, because we would always, like you said, we were just up there busting each other's balls. We could say things, and it didn't matter black, white, Hispanic, Asian. We could say those things in safety, like just joking around. And I don't know, it's just something, like you said, civilians won't understand. If we say that to my buddy, like, you can't believe you said that to him. What?
Yeah.
He said worse to me.
Exactly. And you mentioned corrections. Were you ever out at Lorraine?
No, I just did Euclid Jail. And then I was
so you're more east side?
Yeah, and then I was at Cuyahoga County for like 8 years.
I got a couple of veteran friends out at Lorraine. I was going to see if you knew them, but so then now you're at Rotor Rooter, and you said dealing with different consistency of shit. But how would you say? I mean, your journey. I mean, I know you mentioned sheepdogs and stuff. Was that was that where you feel like you got the majority of your kind of healing, or you're still? I mean, we're always still healing. We're still works in progress.
Yeah, it was definitely their biggest thing is change your angle. So don't always look at it from your point of view. Mm-hmm. Look at it from a healing point of view instead of when he's making it a bad thing. I go into a restaurant, I'm hyper focused, this and that.
Yeah.
Change it to like, I'm attentive, I'm detail oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Changing the words, and you're like, okay, I don't feel so broken.
Yeah. No, I like that.
So they change the way you look at things. And instead of hearing these same things like you're always so hyper focused and you're so paranoid, and changing those words to I'm observant. I'm ready for the situation. And it truly helps.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, words are powerful, man, because it's like we're playing our minds are like a record, man, and we gotta, sometimes we get stuck in the bad grooves, and we gotta rewrite the grooves,
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been, I still work on that, but it's like, some days it's just like, and that's what part of my recovery programs help me do too. Is just like, it's like, man, I have to go do this weekend. It's like, man, you get to go do that this weekend,
Right.
And just like little things like that, It's like, I gotta go help my mom. Her internet's jacked up again, and it's some simple like just reboot, but I gotta go over there and show her how to do it. No, I get to go over there and I get to spend some quality time with my mom.
Right.
So stuff like that, So yeah, I love it. I love it, man. Definitely recommend that for others to check out. Well, John, before we get ready to wrap up, I want to ask you a couple of the questions I normally ask my guests that I have on here. We were talking a lot about kind of, where we're at, and where we'd like to see things in our country. But what class do you feel should be mandatory before graduating high school today?
Before graduating high school, basic life skills. Like, I know we don't use them as much anymore, but balancing a checkbook, paying your bills, setting up things to, how it comes out of your account, not just basic life skills. I would say another thing that people need to do is how to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not making it not about you, but like, instead of, like my son, when he comes home, he's still learning. He's in 101st Airborne, but it's about, I did this in the Army and I did that. And, we do this. I'm like, you're preaching to the choir. I've done all that. You're well, but now it's like, it's not that much different, bud. Yeah. So, but I also have to stop back and I stop myself. Like, he's going through this for the first time. So I need to, that's again, where that redirecting, you put that wall up, like, I don't want to hear it. It's, that's cool, but then I have to redirect in this as a dad and be, But to listen,
He's excited to share that with you. That's
Yeah.
probably his like
So-
bonding thing, you know.
I forget that because
Yeah.
you know, so I'm still working on that. Still work in progress. I'm not perfect, but
Yeah.
I'm proud of him.
I learned you know, with my dad, especially, you know, when I came home and I first got sober and you know, before I retired, you know, I had more empathy for him because the things that I didn't get, you know, that I didn't like about, you know, him and his struggles and his PTSD, because it was all about, you know, me and how I was,
Right.
you know, and I was always striving to get his approval. You know, I originally like signed up to go into the Marines, and then I got myself in some stupid trouble that made the papers. And my gunny sergeant recruiter was just like, "You ain't joining my corps," you know.
Wow.
And luckily the Navy was just like, you know, just, you know, involves alcohol. All right, you know, we'll work around it, you know. But yeah, I wanted to do that because I wanted to make my dad proud, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, as time went on and I came home and, you know, and I think it was like right after I retired and I'd been sober for a couple of years, I worked on some stuff. My dad, you know, he gave me that nod, told me how proud he was of me, man. And I'm always grateful that I was able to get that. And we had such a great relationship, said everything we needed to say to each other before he passed, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah. But who are 3 people who've inspired you and you can credit for making you the person you are today?
No particular order. I'd say my former lieutenant colonel, all my sergeants that I had, and my wife.
Awesome. And then are there, I mean, we've mentioned Sheepdogs a couple times, but any causes or organizations that you support and encourage others to check out?
The biggest one that I've found that has been great because they do outdoor excursions and things like that. That a lot of times the like a Veterans Administration and the what is it? Veteran Service Centers. They'll send guys to that. They're outdoor adventures where you're with. None of them are counselors. None of them hold any counseling accreditations. They're literally just brothers and sisters that have been through the program and will be able to teach you how to take that different angle approach to life. And it's a game changer. I'm telling you, they're probably one of the best I've ever seen out there. Better than Wounded Warriors. They're absolutely amazing. It's sheepdogia.org. Give them a look. They are, you know, if we can get more people doing that, and then, you know, sign up for the PATH program. That PATH program will change your life. I don't care how much therapy you've been in. We've had guys that were there in my class that he's been doing therapies and group sessions and stuff for 10 years. He's like, this is the best, most rewarding program I've ever been in.
Yeah, I think I'm going to look into that for myself too. I just, I was doing well, you know, or I thought well enough. I mean, like you said, we're all always works in progress. And I come a long way, but I just recently, I've been in, you know, this relationship with, like, who I mentioned, the firefighter EMT that, you know, there's somebody else that I got to remind myself that they've had experienced more trauma than me. Yeah. But, you know, any relationship we run into whatever. And, you know, I just restarted going to anger management at the VA, you know, because she's like, I'm noticing you're getting a lot more angrier now. I'm like, well, if you quit pissing me off, you know, but it's not, you know, really, I want to be better for her. I want to be better for her kids. I want to be better for my kids. So it's like, you know, I'm going to keep taking whatever tools I can get my hands on.
I'm telling you, the PATH program is absolutely amazing. You might not go to Sheepdog for it, but if you go to, what is it, PAA? Oh, I even forgot what it stands for. But there's a link on Sheepdog's website for PATH, and there's different foundations built it, like, because it's under Boulder Crest. They're the ones that created the whole program. So there's other places around the country that do it, not just Sheepdog, but that program is the same no matter which place you go to. It's the same structure everywhere. So it's not like you'll get a different experience from one PATH program to another. It's structured by Boulder Crest, and they follow it to a T from Boulder Crest. And it all makes sense in the end. We're not allowed to talk about how it works.
Yeah, I got you.
But if you go, it may seem weird or corny or where are we getting at? Trust the process, and you'll come out a completely different man. I'm telling you.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to look into that, John. Thank you. And then on a cheerier note, I like to ask this question because I'm still a child at heart. Favorite toy as a child?
Oh man, I don't even know. I would always take all my toys apart. I was that guy that took them apart. I would say.
I don't know how much money in Star Wars I wasted.
Like I said, I was always in the woods, so I couldn't even tell you. I don't even remember the toys I used to play with.
Gotcha. You're just your imagination, man. That's something that
it really was. I was
definitely lacking today. You know.
Yeah, I was literally in the woods for hours and hours and hours, as much as I could. My buddies and I we'd have campfires in the woods, and I'm talking elementary school. I'm like 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and we're just in the woods all the time. So I don't know any specific toys besides my bike. I think my bike was my biggest thing because that was my mode of transportation. I lived on a dirt road, so it took me half a mile to get to my friend's house. So I'd say my bike.
Nice. Yeah, well, the other thing I really like about my significant other, she's very outdoorsy and stuff, and we actually got a date here after I wrap this up with you to go do a picnic down at Cuyahoga Valley National
that's
Park.
awesome.
So I'll be spending some time out there myself here in a little bit. And then any message that you have for our brothers and sisters that are currently serving overseas?
Keep your head on a swivel. Don't be afraid to ask for help before it's too late. I've had many of my guys not seek the help, and they're not here anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. And then, before we wrap up, John, what I like to do with, the veterans that I have on here, I like to get a promo ID from them, but I have them introduce themselves at the last rank they held before they got out. So if you wouldn't mind, just introduce yourself, and you're listening to at the last rank you held, and then and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
All right. My name is John Wilson. The last rank I held in the Army was E4, specialist and corporal, and you're listening to Boondoggle.
Awesome. John, thank you so much for your time, man.
My pleasure, sir.
I'm glad we got this to happen. It was good talking with you, and those are great photos you sent me too, so it's going to be hard to pick which one to use, but I'm sure I'll make some use of them, dude. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, we'll stay in touch.
All right, yeah, I will for sure.
All right, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mike just called me.